Hey everyone, it's Mike from drive80.com, and today we're going to make After Effects non-scary, and by doing so, we're going to talk about the type tool. So the way to do that is we first need to start with a comp, and we're going to start with that by doing Command N, and you can just pause and get all these settings, but really we're going to do like a widescreen, which is 1920 by 1080. If you want to make it square, you can make it 1080 by 1080. Frame rate, I'll keep it 24, but you have other options in here. You could also do 29 or 30 or 60. I usually keep it at 24, depending if I'm doing it from scratch. If I'm using another video that I'm on top of, that I'm doing this on top of, that's kind of weird, then I would match their frame rate, because if they had a 60, their frame rate was 60 for some reason, and I'm doing a 24, it's going to look like complete crap. But that's like a little bit extra for you. All right, here we go with our composition, and we're going to hit the type tool. So to get the type tool, you'd think that you'd hit T, but that's not doing anything. So you hit Command T if I'm on a Mac, and now I have the type tool. Type tool is a very, very awesome tool, and people probably, you're going to use it a lot in animations because type is very popular now, especially since video is being watched without audio. I hope that that isn't going to affect these videos since they are just me talking. But anyway, here's type. So I'm going to click on here and I'm going to just write text. Now I want to get out of this box. I can click in here and it'll deselect it. And let's say that I was back in it again. I could also hit Command Return and it'll deselect it. Now if I go to, I was like, okay, well I want to move this around. I'd have to get my select tool, which if you've seen it previous videos, I talk about it all the time. You hit V as in Victor, and you can now move this around. And to avoid this whole thing where it kind of like flipped it upside down, you want to be able, so once you select it, you'll see that the bottom little leg that's sticking out of your cursor will go away, and now you can move this around. So there's a little fun fact for you. So the text, you control it with these panels right here, the character and the paragraph. If you can't see them in your panels, then go to Window, and then you go down to Character, and this will pop up, or paragraph will also pop up because that's there. Yeah, so that wasn't showing. Let's say paragraph wasn't showing. I'd say, okay, well, where is it? Oh, there it is. And it would add it to that panel because it was there previously. We're going to talk about this whole area right here and what it does. So this one obviously is where you choose your font. So you can do the drop down and select a font on your own, or you can just click in here and use your up and down arrows on your keyboard and find like a cool font. And that one looks pretty neat. And then sometimes they have other options where maybe this one might have bold and italic and all that, and this one, in this case, it doesn't. Let's say I want to change the color of this, then I can use the eyedrop tool and I could just kind of select any color that's around the screen, or I can select here in the swatch panel and I can choose a different color. One hopefully that's going to have a bit contrast from the background and pop out a bit more. In this case, I'm just going to keep it with white. And then you can also add a stroke, which I don't really recommend because that just looks like kind of weird. So I double clicked on the stroke and I can add that, hit OK, and I mean, it's just, I don't know, I don't think it looks good. So I can hit this little no stroke and get rid of it, and that's it. The font size you can control right here, so I can increase the font size, I can decrease the font size. I can also mess with its leading, which means that if there was a word below it, which if I hit Command T again and I hit space, text 2, if I hit Command Return to get out of this, and V, just so I'm just selecting now. If I select it again, I could do this, and now that text below it is going to increase its leading, and that's the space between the top and the bottom of these words. Let's see, if I was going to be in the middle of here with my cursor, then I can mess with its kerning, and I can increase the space in between there. And if I want to mess with more of it, if I double click here, then that's more of like when you want to do it like in between different letters. If I had the whole thing selected, you see you can't do that option because then you'd use this one right here, and this will expand it. If you hold down Shift and do it, it'll do it way more. But we're also seeing that this isn't going to be exactly, the math on this isn't going to be great. So I almost want to delete this and then do it again. I'll do this text to, actually I'd probably have to get rid of that space. So let me double click here, let me highlight it, and then that'll let me increase. So you can increase it, there you go, use the X, basically would be the center. Yeah, so there's that part of it. Let's see what else. This here, I honestly, it's if we get the stroke. So let's see. Go here. Let's get that color. Let's add it to be red. Let's increase the stroke on that. Let's make sure that's behind it. Fill over stroke. Yeah, so the fill would be on top of the stroke. So then you can kind of mess with it there. It might get a little weird. You can do all these different settings. All fills over stroke. There we go. So even if it's increasing, you can see where that would be kind of cool. Where if that was your type treatment, that would be pretty neat. And eventually you'd be able to animate that as well, which we're not going to get into. But in this case, let's just kill the stroke because I don't want it. And then here we go. We're also going to now increase the height of the actual letters. So you can do that here, or you can increase the thickness of the letters and not actually the space in between them here. And as well, if you want to take this entire line and let's say move it down, you can baseline shift it this way. So you can move it up and down. This actually, honestly, I'm not even kidding. I've never used this. So there we go. Yeah, it's just gonna squeeze it in. But yeah, I never had a need to use that. So we can kind of drag this down a little bit. And here you've got, so we showed that Bebas or Bebas or Bebas, whatever this is, if you're a font dork expert, then you can probably correct me. But it didn't have, you couldn't make it bold, you could make it italic. This is where this will help that. So this will kind of bypass the fact that you can't, and now you can make it bold. So let's say we wanted that first line to be non-bold, and we want the second line to be bold. So we'd highlight it and get rid of that. And then this one be obviously slightly bolder. Let's bring this back down. It doesn't need to be that insanely big. But you can also, again, since you are doing this line, you can have this be on its own, and you can mess with it here and here and here. We can also make it italic, and you can make it all uppercase if it wasn't. So if this was all lowercase, if I just spelled text 2, where if I didn't have this selected, if it was lowercase, it would make it that. Okay, so I'm guessing that this font actually doesn't allow that, so I can change the font here. There we go. Okay, what's this font? That's weird. So text 2. Okay, so all these fonts for some reason are all capitals. Let me change this. Let me do Arial. There we go. Now you can see it. So Arial text, that'd be lowercase, but I hit uppercase, it'll make it uppercase. And it also can do where, let's say the 2, we wanted it to be a subscript, then, or small caps, I'm sorry. Nope, my bad. It's not subscript. Yeah, there we go. Small caps, then it would do that. But if you want it to be a subscript or a kind of like if you had some kind of math equation or something going on, or you wanted to reference it, you'd hit this here and it would just jump it up a line. You can do this here and bring it down the line. And that's it. I mean, that's the type tool. And there's a ton of other things to do with it, but I just want you getting used to actually typing with it and utilizing the character panel. Paragraphs, again, it's also if you want to left align it, you click here, center align here, right align here. You can kind of, let's see, like push this in. You can kind of push that over from where the anchor point is. You can push it back. Let's see, it's not pushing back. Why are you pushing back? Let's see, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Oh, my bad. Yeah, so that's not working. But, you can mess with these things depending on what you want. I usually don't really stick with the paragraph tool. The only thing I typically use it for is just to center right or left align, and that's it. But other people, if you can find a way to make it work for you, then utilize that in your workflow. So yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. If you can just comment in the description or the comments section. You can also email me at mike@drive80.com. Okay, so see, in this scenario, I want this now to not be so wide. So I'd bring it down. Actually, if I do Command A, it'll select all of it. So I would make this 0, and I would move it over, and I'd say, okay, well, I don't want I want drive80.com. Let me do this. That's fine. This, make it 0. This, I want it to be Z. I want it to be 0, 100. And then this, I want to be 100. There we go. Perfect. That brings it back to where I want it to be. Okay. So everything I just did totally erased. Whatever. Mike at drive80.com. Drive80.com. Yeah, if you have any questions, just email me here. And if not, then you can also hire me personally to teach you. That's more driven to what your needs are for basics of learning After Effects. You can also hire my company, drive80.com, to create explainer animations for you if you don't want to do any of this stuff and you think it's confusing. So yeah, so feel free to share this with anyone you think could get some benefit out of it, and you can also let me know how I can make these videos better, because I'm just putting them out and I can't see what you see. So, but be gentle. No one likes mean people.